So, good afternoon, everyone. First we complete a very few part remain from the wave optics, and then we move on to the modern physics. So, my first topic is the difference between interference and diffraction. So, if we want to draw this pattern in terms of intensity and wavelength, we know in that the intensity are same, and here the intensity is decrease. Okay, we know this intensity pattern. Now if we read out the differences, first is that in case of interference, interference is the result of superposition of two secondary waves starting from two different wavelength originating from the same source. Hope you remember, in case of Young's double slit experiment, they are in the same distance, and when they are superimposed from the two different source, they are superimposed from the two different source. Okay, so in case of interference, waves are superimposed from two different source, two different wavelength originating from the coherent source. Coherent source means originating from the same coherent source. In case of diffraction, diffraction is a result of the superposition of secondary waves starting from the different parts of the same wavefront. देखो, this is the single wavefront, और इस सिंगल वेव फ्रंट का डिफरेंट डिफरेंट पोजीशंस का वेव का हम लोगों ने क्या किया था, सुपर पोजिशन किया था. याद करके देखो, ये जो रे आया ऐसे गया, जाके ये सुपर इम्पोज हुआ, फिर ये गया, ये ऐसे करके जाके ऐसे करके आया, याद है ना. सो सेम वेव फ्रंट का दो अलग अलग जगह पे सेम वेव फ्रंट का यहाँ पे सुपर इम्पोज हो रहा है. एक ही वेव फ्रंट का डिफरेंट डिफरेंट पार्ट का सुपर इम्पोज हो रहा है, लेकिन यहाँ पे डिफरेंट डिफरेंट वेव फ्रंट या डिफरेंट डिफरेंट सोर्स से लाइट आ रहा है. दैट इज द बेसिक डिफरेंस बिटवीन diffraction and interference, and that is the first point. Okay, now what about the second point? Second point is that all bright and dark fringes are equal width. I can see it, all bright and dark fringes are equal width. And in diffraction, the width of the central bright is twice the width of any secondary minimum. देखो ये double है with respect to this. ये सब क्या है, इसका length lambda है, इसका lambda और इसका length क्या है, 2 lambda. So width of the central maxima is double of the other secondary maxima. Okay. Third point, all bright fringes are of same intensity. देखो bright fringe का intensity same है, यहाँ पे intensity is decreasing. The intensity of bright fringes decrease as we move away from the central bright fringes on the either side. दोनों side decrease कर रहा है. Fourth point, region of dark fringe are perfectly dark, so there is a good contrast between the bright and dark fringe. Bright and dark, bright and dark, bright and dark. This is 4 I naught, this is I 0, this is 4 I naught, this is 0. So there is a very good contrast between bright fringe and dark fringe. लेकिन यहाँ पे क्या है, ये जो dark है, that is not absolute dark. So यहाँ पे this contrast is not a very good contrast. Okay. The region of the dark fringe are not perfectly dark, so there is a poor contrast between the bright and dark fringe. So I hope you understand the difference between interference and diffraction. That question is very, very important. Sometimes 2 marks question examiner can ask you from this part. Now the next part is Fresnel distance. Next part is Fresnel distance. See, the distance at which diffraction spreaded of a beam is equal to the size of the aperture is called the Fresnel distance. What is Fresnel distance? The distance at which the diffraction spreaded of a beam is equal to the size of the aperture is called Fresnel distance. I think you don't understand what do you mean by that. Now let me explain. Suppose you have two slits this is sorry, D is the separation between the two slit, and we know this is the center, and this is the central maxima. So here the light is diffracted with some angle. Light is diffracted with some angle. So as the light is diffracted with some angle, Fresnel distance is that distance between the slit and the screen when the aperture, means the distance between the slit, distance of the slit is equal to y1, means the first minimum form. Now I read the distance at which the diffraction spread of a beam, okay, ये जो spread किया, spread of a beam is equal to the size of the aperture, is called Fresnel distance. So as we know, y for the one, that is lambda capital D by small d, and here y1 is equals to d, so we can write this d, and then we can write this df. The Fresnel distance is d square by lambda. Is it okay, everyone? Clear? Is it? Now a question. Question is that, everyone, is it okay? Hello.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
The question is that, for what distance in a ray optics a good approximation when the aperture is 3 millimeter, when the aperture is 3 millimeter with wide, and the wavelength is 900 nanometer. Wavelength is 900 nanometer. I repeat the question. For what distance in a ray optics is a good approximation when the aperture is 3 millimeter wide and the wavelength is 900 nanometer? Two things. When only they give you distance and lambda, that means this is the this is about Fresnel distance, or within that
Sir?
part the diffraction is perfect. Yes.
স্যার তুমি 900 ন্যানোমিটার বললা কিন্তু 500 লিখলা যে?
আমি কত বলেছি, কত লিখেছি? ও সরি, 500 nanometer. 500 nanometer, not 900 nanometer. Okay. Hello. It's a 500 nanometer and 3 millimeter. So I give you 2 minutes for that. You please. So we know from diffraction Fresnel distance, df is d square by lambda. So d is given 3 millimeter. So 3 into the minus 3 whole square by lambda is 900 nanometer. So 3 to the power 9, 3, 10 to the minus 3 square is minus 6 by 5 into 10 to the power minus 7. So 9 by 5 into 10 to the 10. That is 90 by 5, which is 18 meter. So the answer is 18 meter. So ये तुम्हारा, you can say wave optics खत्म हो गया. तुम लोग का एक और चीज था, resolution of telescope, but now it is out of syllabus for this year. So you don't need that resolution of telescope for this year. So now we move on to modern physics. Just give me 1 minute. Limit of resolution and resolving power not in your syllabus. तुम लोग का फरवरी तक में सिलेबस खत्म हो जाएगा, ठीक है? सो न्यू चैप्टर, that is dual nature, or you can see in the book the name of the chapter is क्या है? Name of the chapter is dual nature and dual nature of radiation of matter. Dual nature of radiation and matter. So in this dual nature, what do you mean by that dual? Dual means at the same time it show you particle nature as well as wave nature. That's why it's called dual nature. So in dual nature, first which is very very important, that is de Broglie hypothesis. So de Broglie proposed a hypothesis, and you understand what do you mean by hypothesis? Anyone, any idea what do you mean by hypothesis? Any idea what do you mean by hypothesis? Hello? Anyone? Okay, hypothesis means which is not theoretically proof, but with the help of any experiment, when we prove it, that is called the hypothesis. Or that experiment by using which we can prove it, that is also out of your syllabus, which is Davidson and Jarmar experiment. That is out of your syllabus now. So let's see. अगर टाइम मिलेगा तो करवा देंगे, कोई बात नहीं है. So de Broglie proposed a hypothesis, and according to that, de Broglie proposed that a material particle in motion behave like a wavelength, behave like a wave, and wavelength associated with it lambda is equals to h by p, or you can say h by mv, where p is the linear momentum and h is the Planck's constant. The value of h is 6.626 into 10 to the power minus 34 joule second. Is it clear, everyone? Is it clear? Now, on the basis of that, what we can see, the lighter the particle, if the particle is very light, then if the mass is decreased, wavelength is increased. So if the lighter the particle, wavelength will increase. And the second thing is, if the speed increase, means the faster the particle, wavelength decrease. Are you getting my point? If the lighter the particle, wavelength increase, faster the particle, wavelength decrease. That is the first thing. Second thing is that this wavelength is independent of the nature of the charged particle. Means if the mass is same, if the momentum is same, if it is positive or negative, or it is no charge, then also you give the same wavelength. Means it is independent of the nature of the charged particle. Is it clear? Is it clear?
Yes, sir.
So now this is de Broglie hypothesis or dual nature. That is the first part of the dual nature. But related to that, so many type of question examiner can ask you. So we can see one by one. Case 1. First, if we write kinetic energy, we know that kinetic energy is half mv square. We know the kinetic energy is half mv square. So half, if we multiply mv square multiplied by m divided by m, what we have, m square v square by 2m, which is p square by 2m. So p square is 2m kinetic energy. So p is root under 2m kinetic energy. So wavelength is h by root under 2m kinetic energy. So now so many types of question examiner can ask you from this relation. Like they can ask you question, suppose kinetic energy of proton, kinetic energy of deuteron, and kinetic energy of alpha particle are equal. Suppose the kinetic energy of proton, kinetic energy of deuteron, and kinetic energy of alpha particle are equal, find the ratio of proton, deuteron, and alpha particle. So we can write mass of proton, we can write mass of deuteron, we can write mass of alpha particle. Now we know mass of proton, we know the mass of deuteron 2 times mass of proton, and mass of alpha particles 4 times mass of proton. So proton is to deuteron is to alpha particle, that is 1 by mass of proton is to 2 times mass of proton is to 4 times mass of proton, which is 1 is to 1 by root 2 is to 1 by 2, that is 2 is to root 2 is to 1. Is it clear, everyone? Everyone, is it okay? Hello. Is it okay? Student, please respond.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now the second case is that if it is okay, then we move on to the second part. Second part is that is the case 2. Case 2, in different way they can ask you wavelength, or they can use this relation. Like if we write E equals to mc square, we know mc is the mass into velocity, that is the momentum, and c is the velocity of light, so we can write pc. So p is equals to E by c. So wavelength, that is h by E by c, that is hc by E. So we can use this, and we can use this especially for electromagnetic wave, or especially for light, because light is also electromagnetic wave. We can use this formula, and from this formula actually you get E equals to hc by lambda. So if you find photon, in photon also you can use this energy, because photon is a form of electromagnetic wave. Is it clear? Is it clear? So now the case 3, if we see the case 3, what happened in case 3? We know now from case 1, lambda is h by 2m kinetic energy. Now for ideal gas, or for noble gas, for ideal gas or for noble gas, kinetic energy is 3 by 2 kBt, where T is the Boltzmann, Kb is the Boltzmann constant, and T is the absolute temperature. Kb is a Boltzmann constant, and T is the absolute temperature. So if we put it, lambda is h by 2m 3 by 2 kBt, which is 3 mkBt. So they can ask you directly from this question. Otherwise, they can ask you in that manner. Suppose they give you wavelength and they give you temperature. So see, lambda and temperature inversely proportional. So you draw this type of graph. If they ask you number 2, lambda and root t, then also the graph is hyperbolic. But If you compare between them, this one is much slower than this one because the value of root t is less. And the third one, they can ask you wavelength into 1 by root 2 root t. So you get a straight line. Is it clear, everyone?
सर टेम्परेचर का क्या केल्विन में लेना है?
Yes. Absolute temperature means Kelvin scale. Okay. Is it
Yes,
okay?
sir. Yes, sir.
अब देखो कभी कभी इसके ऊपर भी छोटा छोटा क्वेश्चन हो सकता है. This is lambda, this is 1 by root t, and they give you a and b. पूछा है किसका मास ज्यादा है, a का या b का. So when you have this type of question, first of all you write lambda equals to this h by root under 3m kbt. That is the first part. And now see, h is a constant, 3 kb is a constant, 1 by root m into 1 by root t. So you can write this whole thing is tan theta, where this part is constant. So you can say tan theta is directly proportional to 1 by root m. Is it clear? Equation of a straight line, y is mx. I think you all understand what I want to say. So if it is, then now see, clearly from this two, we can say if this is theta A and this is theta B, we can say theta B greater than theta A, tan theta B greater than tan theta A, and tan is inversely proportional, means mass of B is less than mass of A. Is it clear? Is it clear, everyone? Everyone, is it okay?
Yes, sir.
Okay. If it is okay, then my next concept is now case 4. Case 4 is very, very important. In case 4, we know kinetic energy half mv square, that is charge into voltage. V means what? V means potential difference. So we can multiply it by m and divide it by m. So we have this one, and we already know lambda is h by p. So p square is 2m qv. So p is root under 2m qv. Is it okay? So lambda is h by 2m qv. So now this one is very, very important. Now they can ask you so many type of question from this theorem. So this is the most important one. First, they can ask you the normal question, lambda and V voltage. You can say inversely proportional. Number 2, they can ask you lambda root V. You can say inversely proportional. 3, they can ask you lambda 1 by V. You can say straight line. Now, fourth one, they can ask you lambda 1 by root V, this and this A and B, whose, as you have charge and mass, so they can ask you whose mass is higher keeping charge constant, whose charge is higher, keeping mass constant. So you can say a lambda equals to h by 2m into q, 1 by root v. So tan theta is h by root m into q. Let this one is theta a, this one is theta b. Clearly from figure, theta b greater than theta a, tan theta b greater than tan theta a. So if you write mass of b greater than mass of a, you have to write keeping charge constant. And if you write charge of b greater than charge of a, you have to write KEEPING, keeping mass constant. Is it clear, everyone? Is it okay, everyone?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay, if it is okay, so then we can move on to the next part from this question. So these are very, very important. If you see the exam idea, then you realize so many times they ask you this type of question. So many times. Okay. Next. Next is that they can ask you this type of question. Suppose voltage of proton, voltage of deuteron, voltage of alpha particle are equal. Find the ratio of proton, deuteron, and alpha particle. So I'm waiting for your answer. You can try it. Hello. See, anyone? Masood, tell me the answer. See, charge of proton, charge of deuteron, that is the 2 times, charge of proton and charge on deuteron are same. Charge of alpha particles 2 times charge of proton. Mass of proton, mass of deuteron, 2 times mass of proton, mass of alpha particles, 4 times mass of proton. So lambda, that means lambda proton, lambda deuteron is to lambda alpha particle. That is 1 by, you can write the whole thing, to mass of proton, charge of proton, same voltage, H, 2 times mass of proton, same charge proton into this is 2. 4 times mass of proton, 2 times charge of proton into V. That means 1 is to, you have root 2 is to, you have 1 by 8. That means 2 root 2. So what you can write, 2 root 2 is to 2 is to 1. Is it clear?
Yes, sir.
Okay, if it is okay, then the next part is, अच्छा मैंने रिकॉर्डिंग को फिर ऑफ रखा है next part is a very, very important question, a very, very important question. Show that de Broglie wavelength show that de Broglie wavelength associated with an electron accelerated to voltage V is show that de Broglie wavelength associated with an electron associated with voltage V is lambda is equals to 12.27 by root under V angstrom. I repeat, show that de Broglie wavelength associated with an electron is accelerated with the voltage lambda equals to 12.27 by root V angstrom. So as we know, kinetic energy is potential energy. So half mv square as they show you. So it's better you can do it from the beginning. Like in the previous one, we put QV. Now we put E into V. E is electron, V is the volt. So electrovolt is the energy. So we can multiply it by mass and divide it by mass. So we have this one, m square V square, that is 2m ev. P square is 2m ev. P is root under 2m ev. So now if P is root under 2m ev, lambda equals to h by P, and the P is 2m ev. Now mass of electron 1.6 into 10 to the power, mass of electron 9.1 into 10 to the power minus 31 kg. Charge of electron 1.6 into 10 to the power minus 19 coulomb, and H is 6.626 into 10 to the power minus 34 joule second. So if we put all these values, lambda is 6.626, 10 to the power minus 34 by 2 into mass of electron 9.1 into 10 to the power minus 31, charge of electron 1.6 into 10 to the power minus 19. And V, after that, don't calculate this directly, you can write 12.27 by root V angstrom. So this one is very, very important. And sometime examiner ask a question like this, in presence of 64 volt, electron is accelerated. Try to understand my question. In presence of 64 volt, our electron is accelerated. Find the wavelength associated with the electron. So don't worry, 12.27 by 64 angstrom, that is 12.27 by 8 angstrom. You just calculate the value. Clear? Is it okay? Is it okay, everyone?
Yes,
Yes, sir.
sir.
Okay. If it is okay, then the last thing related to that, that is very, very important. Calculate sorry, by using de Broglie hypothesis, prove Bohr's quantum condition, or you can say prove that electron move only in those orbit in which its angular momentum mbr equals to nh upon 2 pi. I repeat, by using de Broglie hypothesis, prove Bohr's quantum condition, and that quantum condition is, according to Bohr, it is given electron move only in those orbit in which its angular momentum mbr equals to nh upon 2 pi. So for that, what we can say, according to Bohr, circumference of electronic orbit 2 pi r is m lambda. where n is the principal quantum number according to Bohr circumference of electronic orbit. 2 pi r is n lambda, where n is the principal quantum number. Now, from de Broglie hypothesis, hypothesis, lambda is h by mv. Let it be the equation number 2. Putting the value of equation 2 in 1, 2 pi r is n h by mv. So mvr is n h upon 2 pi. You prove it. The electron move on in those orbit in which its angular momentum is integral multiple of h upon 2 pi. So from this, one thing is clear. See, if this is the circular track and this is the waveform, so this is the particle nature and this is the wave nature. So this derivation is very, very important. And sometime from this derivation also examiner ask question like, what is the principal quantum number of this figure? So it's a very simple. See, this is one wavelength. This one is another wavelength. And this one is another wavelength. So your answer is 3. Now they can ask you in that way. They can give the circular orbit. And they can give you the, they can give you the wave like they can use the wave like this. So this is one wavelength. This is one wavelength. This is one wavelength. And this is one wavelength. So n is how much? 4. Is it clear?
Yes, sir.
So that's it for today. Okay. Actually, we complete one part of dual nature, and that part is removed from your syllabus. That de Broglie hypothesis, Davidson and Jarmar experiment, they remove from your syllabus. So in the next class, we start photoelectric effect, which is very, very important. Okay. And for that photoelectric effect, Einstein get the Nobel Prize. And I think this is the smallest thesis for that anyone get the Nobel Prize. I think there is 2.5 page thesis for which Einstein get the Nobel Prize. Okay, so today I conclude my lecture here.